In this video, we're going to focus on how we can get the center position of a canvas, which is in this case a square, or the center position of the donut pie itself, or the donut chart itself, just in here. So to do this, the first thing what we need to do is get the border template, which you can find here on chartjs3.com getting started. Once you're on here, copy this chunk of code and you're good to go. Next, if you want to get the source code of this video and many others, check out my Patreon page and of course join the Discord channel for any questions. All the links are in the description box. What we're going to do here is first convert this into a donut chart and of course remove the scales here. Let's save that, refresh, there we are. So there are basically two ways to get the center, or at least there are two centers here, so I want to pinpoint them, both of them. So first of all, you have the one that is basically the entire canvas. It starts from top to bottom, and that one is just a standard one. However, this center here is not the exact center. This here, you will notice that immediately if I put a padding. So let's put in some padding here. So I say layout, padding. And let's put a padding on the very top and we do 150 pixels. So let's save that, refresh, there we are. So as you can see here now, this is still the canvas. If I open up the developer tab, the canvas is here from top to bottom, but the center would be somewhere here, while the center of the circle would be here. So let's look how we can get that. To do this, the first thing I want to do is create a plugin to access these details here. So a plugin, and we can just say here, center coordinates. That's a nice plugin name. Copy that. Then we go and say here constant. And then what we're going to do here is coordinates, alright, equal. And once we did that, I'm going to do here, we can say here the ID will be equal to the center coordinates. And then we will say here, after data sets draw. And I'm using this is because I'm going to draw two circles here. That will be very useful. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to the center. So I'm going to say here CTX, chart, arcs, and the plugins. Then an object. Destructuring here for the chart object. We're going to say here CTX. And then I think that will be more than enough. So what I want to do is I want to get one that is center here. That gets the center coordinates. Oh, basically we could do this here. You can say a canvas. And I'm going to show you what we'll be needing from the canvas here. If I do canvas, save, refresh, open up the developer tab, you can see here the height is 700 by 700, which is correct. But if I go into the chart object dot canvas, you'll see that we get slightly different items. Or you can already see here the width and height 114 or 1400, while the original or the correct height is 700 by 700. And if I go in here, or I guess that will not work. Alright, so let's leave that one. If I go here in the chart, we just go to the chart object first. You will see what I mean. In here, we can access the canvas, which we did as well. But here we just have the data itself. Here, what is more important is instead of the width and the height, you can see here the height and the width somewhere here at W is as well 14 WW, there we are, 14. So what I want is, instead of that, I want to have the client width. And the client width and height, there you are, is 700. They're both 700. So what I can do here is probably say canvas client width, save that, refresh, there we are. That's the original one. And if I change this, that should change as well. As you can see here, now it's 537. So this is our correct X and Y. So we say X, let's say X canvas will be this. And then constant Y canvas equals the client height. So once we have this, the next thing what I need to grab is another item, which is not based on the canvas, but more on the chart area position. And the chart area has a center point, and that's what we're going to grab here. To do that, we're going to use a built-in functionality with a chart, and then get data set meta. And we say here data set 0, because we only have one data set anyway, and it will not matter if you do anything else. If I save this, refresh, open up, you get here the object. You can see here all the data information here, and I want this data for every arc element. And then we will see here, we are getting here, this is the X and Y coordinates. And these X and Y coordinates are the center position exactly here. So let's start to grab that. And what I'm going to say here, constant X center, that will be equal to dot data index or data point 0, and then X, and then center Y. And let's make sure we have a semicolon here. This will be the Y, and this will be center Y. So to give you a visual, let's start to draw something. So I'm going to say here ctx dot save to save all variables above, and then I say ctx dot begin path to draw a new shape independent of anything else. And then I'll say here ctx dot fill style. I'll make this one red. This will be the red background color, and then we're going to use it for the canvas. So I'm going to say here ctx dot arc, and we're going to draw the X, the Y coordinates, the radius. In this case, the radius will be, let's make this 20. Then we're going to say here the angle will be 0, but we'll make a full circle. And then maybe you can do here very simple math.pi times 2. And finally, counterclockwise, we set it on false. Once we did this, we're going to say this ctx dot fill to draw a filler shape. Let's save that, refresh. X and Y is not allowed, of course, because we didn't specify that. It should be X canvas and the Y canvas. Save that. There we are. All right, interesting. It moves it to that specific position here. And the reason, of course, it's the client width. So it says it at this corner. So what I'm going to do is divide this by 2 because it is a rectangle, or sorry, a square shape. Let's save that. There you are. This is the center right now. What I want to do now is to get the real center based on the items of X and Y center. You will see that one will be completely related to the point that we have, or basically the center of the chart area. And this one I will make green. Save, refresh. There we are. This is it. If I remove the legend, you'll see this one will nicely change. Or even if I do the top padding, let's remove the padding. There we are. You can see that it moves, and it's being calculated including the difference of the legend. If I remove the legend, you'll see it will probably be on top of each other. So we say here plugins, then say here legend. Then I'm going to remove the legend to say display false, save. There we are, exactly on top of each other. And you could imagine if you have a title, display true, you can see it just calculates and recalculates the position. Say a text ABC, that should be a string value, save, refresh, there we are, and that's it. So this is basically the way you can play around and get the exact coordinate of the circle based on the data and the pi, what is exactly the circle, and of course the other one, which is just based on the canvas.